Coming up on the Making Waves VO podcast. And the client was trying to get me. And I, got all these messages on my phone after I get out of the movie. And they're like, Kev, where are you? We need this spot. It's a revision or whatever it was. I'm like, well, I took the afternoon off to go to a movie. Oh, my gosh, big mistake. And they're like, okay, understand. Well, if you could knock out this revision when you get a chance, please. And then they kind of stopped sending me stuff.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves.
Making waves. Making waves.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell.
Welcome to the Making Waves VO podcast. Kevin Kilpatrick here in Nashville.
And Bobbi Maxwell in Nashville North.
Bobbi, what's going on over there? How are you? You. It's so cool to have you in town and for us to be able to get together now and then in person.
Do the sponsor, Kev.
The Making Waves VO podcast is presented by Full Compass and FullCompass.com.
We know VO.
Thank you for that reminder, Bobbi. I never want to forget about Full Compass, and I never do forget about Full Compass. They are such amazing people, and they do a great job for the voiceover community. And we're going to talk more about that coming up in just a little bit. But feel free to log on for everything VO at FullCompass.com. But today, we are going to talk about speedometers. We're going to talk about pistons. We're going to talk about crankshafts.
Did I misunderstand your email?
These are all things involved in an automobile, Bobbi.
I know. Not quite where we were going.
Mechanics 101, right?
Yeah. I'm out.
Today we're going to talk about the exciting and fast-paced world of automotive VO. Bobbi, that is something near and dear to both of our hearts, right?
I think when I was in radio, a car spot was probably my very first piece of production and stayed that way through most of my radio career. So this was just, it was just an easy transition when I got into voiceover. But yeah, definitely my number one genre of VO. What about you?
Yeah, same here. My number one genre, and it's the reason I was able to leave radio for voiceover full time. Back in 2004, I'd started making commercials on the side, and those commercials on the side were mostly car commercials. And thankfully, I had some people that gave me some tips and tricks along the way on what made an effective car commercial. And here we are, lo and behold, 20 years later, and I'm still doing it. And I'm very lucky, consider myself fortunate to be prolific in that genre. And it's a lot of fun, too.
It is a lot of fun. The cool thing is I met you through an automotive spot, an automotive audition on one of the pay-to-plays. Do you remember that?
I do. Can I tell the story?
Of course you can, yeah.
One of my big automotive clients, I'm thankfully... and this is, goes back to establishing relationships and cultivating those clients. But I had been developing this relationship with this client, and they're like, hey, Kev, do you do production? I'm like, why, yes. Yes, I do. And no, but seriously, I've been production director for an 80 market affiliate radio station, and production director at ad agency, and, this kind of stuff. So I've got the chops for production. I produce demos now and all this stuff. So they were like, hey, Kev, you're great. But your high-pitched voice just does not sound girly enough. So we would like to hire legit female talent. But seriously, so I had to do, and I've done this in the past, done a lot of castings, as a matter of fact. I've done many castings for automotive, but I had to do kind of a large search because this big automotive agency that I was working for needed their A-team female voice, basically. And so I did a search, and I went on one of the pay-to-plays and did it there. I did it on the pay-to-play that I trust, and that's how I met Bobbi. So Bobbi got down, I culled it down to about 10.
How many did you get, by the way? Do you remember?
I think it was, I probably, if I know me, I probably would have limited the number of submissions to about 30, maybe 50. But I remember culling it down to about 10 so I could just say, okay, here's my top 10.
Yeah.
And then I narrowed it down to 5. And You were in that top 5. A good friend of ours in the podcast, Linda Bruno, was also in the top 5. And then I
wow,
submitted
I didn't know.
And I submitted these top 5 to the agency. And here we are all these years later. They had selected Bobbi, and Bobbi became the A-team female voice for this automotive client. And that's how Bobbi and I met. And you were like,
Kevin, I really enjoyed doing work with you and all these times. It'd be nice to meet face to face. One time I'm coming to Nashville from Cincinnati, and
that's not how Bobbi talks,
I was going to say, do I really sound like that? That's not good.
No, but Bobbi said, hey, Kev, I'm coming to town. I'd love to meet you. And I think you suggested buying me lunch or something, right?
I think I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
It was at an Asian. I think it was it sushi?
Sushi place.
Yeah.
Sushi place. Sushi
Dog
place.
living.
Sushi place. But no, we had a great sushi lunch and we hit it off and we just became fast friends and now here we are. What was that like? That was like 6 years ago, probably?
No, I think that was probably like 8 or 9 years ago, Kev.
Okay.
Because I had just started voiceover, at least within the first year of it. And I mean, voiceover full time. So I started in 2016. So it might have been more like 8 years. It's been a great client to have. Thank you, my man.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. You are so welcome, and they are so happy with what you do. And let's get into that, Bobbi. Let's talk about your results, your effectiveness. What do you think makes for an effective voiceover in the automotive genre?
I think having that radio background obviously helps because, like I said, that's where I did a lot of my voiceover and production at the radio stations. So I think that helps just because it is a commercial. It's a very bright, energetic, typical radio style commercial. But I also think there are other things that lend to you being a good, dependable voiceover talent in automotive. I think having range is good. And as Kevin knows, Kevin will send me a luxury spot. And he'll send it in the morning because he knows my voice in the morning is really, really deep. So having that ability to bounce around with tones and ranges certainly helps because they're not just doing the energetic, macho male read anymore for automotive. And then I think the quick turnaround issue is so important because Kevin will say, have a hot one. And you have to be there, kind of like political does. You just have to be there because they need it or they need a revision now. But that would be my top reasons why I think you would be good for automotive.
Yeah. And I think you nailed everything there. It's, about the read for sure. And I think I wanted to point out that I chose the word effective voiceover because for the most part in commercial VO, we want truth. We want believability. And in automotive, we want that, right? We want to be believable and we want to be truthful, right? But there's a certain amount of effectiveness that I feel is paramount. And what creates the effectiveness? I think it's giving love to certain aspects of the commercial copy, the automotive commercial copy.
Yep.
And then after that, it is what you just mentioned. It's taking care of the client, being available. I've made mistakes. Early in my voiceover career, I was like, I can work on my own schedule. And I was doing a bunch of car spots, but I did not understand the timeliness factor of it at that point. And I had an agency that I was doing some work for, and they were trying to reach me. And I had gone to a matinee movie at like 3 o'clock on a Wednesday or something, and the client was trying to get me. And I, got all these messages on my phone after I get out of the movie, and they're like, Kev, where are you? We need this spot. It's a revision or whatever it was. I'm like, well, I took the afternoon off to go to a movie. Oh my gosh, big mistake. And they're like, okay, understand. Well, if you could knock out this revision when you get a chance, please. And then they kind of stopped sending me stuff. I'm like,
oh, really?
Oh,
interesting.
No. And then I got it. And then I talked to somebody and like, yeah, dude, get used to being around your studio if you want to continue to do automotive stuff.
I take my gear with me every time I travel, every single time. And other VO talent goes, it's your vacation. But it takes 60 seconds to lay down a spot sometimes, I'll do it to keep that client.
Yeah, and that's it, keeping the client, keeping the client happy. And trust me, I learned after that because automotive can be really nice. It can be a really nice income. Yeah, I'm very grateful for my automotive income. But yeah, it's the doing a good VO and then taking care of the client after that and being available. That's some of the biggest aspects.
You don't want to miss what's next. Making Waves returns momentarily.
VO news and insights to take your game from VO adequate to VO at a kick ass. This is voice actor Steve Henderson with Good Pipes VO, and you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell.
Oh, Bobbi, I remember getting into voiceover, and one of the most exciting parts about getting into voiceover is buying all the gear. You don't realize that until you become a voice actor and you got to produce your own stuff. And you go, ooh, this part should be fun. But then you go, I have not a clue on what I'm supposed to buy.
Exactly.
That's why you trust your good friends at Full Compass, fullcompass.com. They know VO there, and you're going to have a great selection of pro audio gear, and you're going to get a lot of good help. And there's a lot of good attributes that go along with buying from Full Compass.
Yeah, so if you're not really sure when you got the piece of equipment, and you have questions about it, they have a free 2-year service or repair plan. They have free shipping on orders over $49. I love that. I think my favorite thing is the low price guarantee, because you just never know. You said a second ago that you're getting into this and you don't know what you need, but how about, do you know if you're paying the right price for it? So you don't have to worry about that when you shop at fullcompass.com. They'll guarantee to match the price on the products they sell for new, identical, and immediately available products offered at a lower price.
They have flexible financing, Bobbi, and they also have free expert assistance, and that's why we say we know VO at Full Compass.
Everything from microphones to interfaces to headphones to mic booms, they've got it.
If you have any questions and you're more old school and you want to call them on the phone, you can call Full Compass at 800-356-5844. Full Compass and fullcompass.com.
We know VO.
And now, back to Making Waves. Bobbi, let's talk, you kind of touched on it a minute ago, but let's talk about the, automotive VO as a genre, but what about the subgenres in automotive VO? Like styles?
Oh, yeah. Definitely. I had an audition this morning that was so different, and I included this on my little remark section about that style of automotive. It was, I would say, emotional and anthemic. It was kind of like the stuff you would hear right around COVID. And I went and Googled this dealership or I went on YouTube and pulled up some of their ads, and they were the hype and, energize and sell. But I think the copy that they gave me, it kind of made it sound like they were focusing more on themselves and how they treat their customers. So it was very emotional, and we're here for you, and that's just one of the many styles. I mean, there's the ones where you got to fit 30 seconds of copy into about 20 seconds where you're really motoring through. Mm-hmm. There's the mom read, which I think I get a lot. And what about yours? What do you get? What kind of?
Well, I would call that, on my side, I'd call that the dad read.
Yeah.
So there's that. But I have my own sounds that, you can put high energy, aggressive into a category, but there's ways to break that down even. Like I've got an angry father read that I do. And let me just pull up.
Oh, yeah.
Just a script.
Angry father.
Yeah, the angry father. Let me find.
Sounds like a new TV show.
Well, speaking of TV shows, you remember that 70s show, Bobbi? Mm-hmm. Do you remember Red Foreman, the dad?
Yeah.
So a lot of people can say, okay, when he's mad, do his voice, imitate him, and that could be a car commercial.
Wow.
Let me see. Let me just play this spot really quick.
Okay.
And let me see if this is it. Get more in 24 at Hudson Toyota. Like new Camry, Corolla, or Highlander for $99 down. Call Credit Connect now. 877-989-7999. New Camry, Corolla, or Highlander. Just $99 down at Hudson Toyota. Route 440, Jersey City. HudsonToyota.com.
99 down does not include tax, tag title, and $5.99 dealer fee. Exclusions may apply. See dealer for details. Example vehicle, new 2024 Camry LE, stock number RU208114, MSRP 28,417, expires 4/30/24.
You know that little it's a meme or it's a poster where the guy's sitting in the armchair and he's leaning back and his hair's like flying backwards. That's what I did when that started. Like,
oh
whoa.
yeah, well that's a pretty
Mean
classic
father.
angry father right
Angry
there. Let me. I'm just and I'm doing this on the fly. Let's see. Let me see. What have you done recently, Bobby? Can you think? Let's see.
How about trying the Mercedes-Benz of, is it Cincinnati or Westchester?
Oh, I don't know if I have that mixed.
Okay.
MWB. What? Let's see. There's my filler. Mercedes. Let me see if I can find an actual mix down.
I'm laughing because a few days ago, Kevin sent me an audition, or it was actually a spec,
Yeah.
saying they wanted it monotone. And I sent him something. He goes, "Oh, no, that is way too perky for monotone." And I tried it again, and I felt that I couldn't do a monotone voice because I'm so used to the ups and downs and the character in these spots. So that was funny, and I don't know what they thought of it, but.
Oh, yeah, and that's the comedy, Bobby, and I sent that to just a handful of other folks too, because they were looking for a new voice, and their direction, and I'll tell you, the impetus it was from me doing the angry father, and they're like, no, we did that a few months, and then they wanted something totally opposite, and their direction, the client direction, was monotone and not loud. And I sent it to a handful of other people, and somebody said, that is the most interesting direction I've ever been given. And, and you were the same. And the thing is only one person literally did it monotone and no volume. Like, it was crazy. Why am I not seeing? Oh, here we go. Stand by. So we just did the angry father. Let's see if this is what I think it is.
35 years of commitment to excellence, sales, service, world-class guest experience. Come see the all-new Mercedes-Benz Evolution showroom, open now. Only at Mercedes-Benz of Cincinnati on Montgomery Road in Kenwood.
That's lovely, Bobby. That is lovely. And what I love about that is that is sophisticated. That is luxury. But it's kind of a modern day and Bobby's personality take on luxury. Back in the day, anytime there was a luxury read, you think automatically you have to read like this.
Oh, yeah.
And sound like an old
Breathy
stuffy person.
Yeah.
But now it's like, hey, Bobby, let's talk. This is a really cool car. And you hear that enthusiasm and the class with which she delivers that read. Yeah,
there are those brands that just call for that every single time. And Mercedes is, I can't imagine doing a Screamer Mercedes ad.
No.
It's just weird.
It just doesn't happen that way.
Even John Hamm can't do it. Isn't he on Mercedes?
Mm-hmm. He still is, yeah. And let me, I am going to see if I can pull up something really quick. Stand by. Hold on one second. I want to see about this commercial right here because, let's see. Because I just want to get to the disclaimer.
Yeah. Not everybody can do a disclaimer.
No. And sometimes there are challenges with disclaimers. Model number 121, 114, VIN number 3 and 188, CD5RY 226 786, stock number 6R023 7 2024 Nissan Sentra SV, MSRP 23,415.
Price $22,233. Discount $1,182. Lease for $149 a month for 18 months. $3,895. Do it. Lease signing offer excludes tax, title $399. Fee $695. Acquisition fee and first payment 36-month NMAC lease at 10K miles per year. No security deposit required. See dealer for full details. Offer expires 4/30/24.
Oh my gosh. Did that actually air? Yeah?
Yeah.
That's crazy. Crazy,
Yeah.
crazy. That's when people stereotype automotive, you know what I mean? That's
yeah.
like such a stereotype. But that was a lot of copy for a disclaimer.
Yeah, and that's the thing is like it's such a I don't know how to describe it because some dealers they're like I don't care how the disclaimer sounds, you know, just cram it in there whatever it takes. And then others are, you know, they play by the rules a little bit more like, no, it's got to be closer to the volume as the regular spot. It's got to be closer to the regular speed of the spot. They're not being deceptive. It's everything that goes along with every disclaimer, but they're just trying to economize their, you know, audio real estate, as it were.
Do you remember if you read that all the way through and then sped it up?
I just
did
did
you-
it this morning.
Oh,
So,
really?
Yeah.
So was it a one take and then you had to just speed it up?
Crap,
Or
no.
were there edits? There were edits?
Crap, no. Bobby, let me just pull up the script so you can kind
Yeah.
of. It was so comical. I'm like, there's no way that this is happening. Let's see. Not that one. It was. Where was that? This is such a professional podcast.
Thank goodness Lacey can edit.
Yeah. Okay. So here is the actual disclaimer. Model number 121-114, VIN number 3N1AB8CV5RY226786, stock number 6R0237, 2024 Nissan Sentra SV, MSRP $23,415, dealership price $22,233, dealership discount $1,182, lease for $149 a month for 18 months, $38.95 due at signing, offer excludes tax, title $399, doc fee $695, acquisition fee and first payment 36-month NMAC lease at 10K miles per year, no security deposit required. See dealer for full details. Offer expires 4/30/24.
Wow.
Yeah,
Well,
and-
congratulations.
Yeah, no, it was garbage. It was garbage, Bobby. And so that's one of those ones that, and this is something that, by the way, did I tell you I've got an automotive workshop coming up? I have an automotive workshop coming up.
Really? Is it in person or online?
It's virtual, and it is happening on April the 30th. It's
Ooh.
happening April 30th.
So right around the corner.
Yeah. And you can go to voiceover.guru to see that and just go to online voiceover workouts. But that's one of the things I'm going to tell people about is when it comes to those crazy disclaimers, don't kill yourself. What I do, so let me pull that disclaimer back up really quick. Okay, so the first line says, model number 121-114, VIN number 3N1AB8CV5RY2266-786. So the first stumble I have, model number 121-114, VIN number 3N1AB8C5RR. So what I'll do is I'll pick it up with VIN number.
Okay.
VIN number 3N1,
Yep.
and I'll try to get through that. And then my next stumble, I will go back a little bit and I'll pick it up a few, handful of syllables before. So I've got good, clean edit points and I'm back in a rhythm of where the disclaimer should be.
Do you use punch and roll for that?
You can't because it would be too choppy.
Yeah.
And you drive yourself nuts. This VIN number is among the most challenging that I've ever read. VIN number 3N1AB8C5, VIN number 31AB8CV5RY226786. So it took me a little bit of time to get through that one.
Wow.
Yeah, and like I said, this is among the most challenging disclaimers I've ever done.
Yeah, sounds like it.
But use editing. Editing is your friend. Stock number 6R0237, 2024 Nissan Sentra SV, MSRP $23,415. So I'm running out of breath right there, right? So I'm going to pick it up with MSRP $23,415. price, $22,200. Anyway, but you get the idea. Just I go back a little bit and then pick it back up and then use editing for my friend. Just make it sound like there's no edits. That's the bottom line.
Well, you had said that there is a rhythm and a way to hit certain points in automotive copy. It's kind of like promo. There's definitely a rhythm to it. On most spots. Sometimes it will be totally conversational, but on most automotive spots, I'd say there is a rhythm. And I'm sure you're going to be teaching all of that in your class.
Yeah, there's we go through a whole thing. We do warm-ups. We do disclaimer warm-ups. We do price point warm-ups to get you ready for the full read. We don't just dive straight into a full read. We try to get some of the components down. And that way, whenever we go to practicing the full reads, we're already starting to train that vocal muscle memory. So we're seeing, okay, we see Camry, $199 a month. We know that needs love, right? So here at, Bobbi Maxwell Toyota, get a new Camry for $199 a month and just make that sound bright and cool and colorful and really amazing. Because all dealers care about, for the most part, is selling vehicles. Now, they want to do it with integrity. We know this. So, the spots got to sound cool. They got to sound nice, but they want to sell cars. That's why they're in business, to make money. And that is just a big cycle, because when we help them sell cars, they go, wow, Bobbi's got a great sound. And she helps move merchandise, move metal. So move metal, make money. That works all the way around for the dealers and for the voice actors. So Bobbi does a great spot for Bobbi Maxwell Toyota. Get a new Camry for $199 a month. 36-month lease. Get it now with only $599 down. So there's certain aspects of that you want to highlight, that you want to billboard. And then there's certain things you got to run through, a lot of times to make time. And a lot of times that's the filler, that's the fluff. It's a family-owned dealership for 25 years. That's fine.
Right.
That's great. That's nice. But get through that part. But make sure and add extra love to the price points. And Bobbi, you do that instinctively. I was listening to your stuff the other day. Of course, I listen to your stuff almost daily. And you do it. You do it with aplomb. You do it with such expertise, such finesse, and, there's no effort in how you do it.
Yeah, I mean, when you've been doing it this long too, it's just natural. It's it's just there.
This is John Malone coming to you straight from the Malone Zone. And you've got the best VO podcast in the whole internet right here. The Making Waves VO Podcast with Kevin and Bobbi. Boy, are you lucky.
I want to segue, because I'm sure you have a great spin on this, or just your outlook. Let's talk about the usage changes in automotive.
Very strong opinions about that.
Yeah, because it's not just radio and TV spots anymore.
So everything is homogenized now almost in terms of video usage. There's all the streaming platforms. There's the over-the-top stuff. There's the YouTube stuff. There's the stuff that's going to run on TikTok. And now we're talking about Tier 3 automotive. Tier 1 automotive is national stuff. That is John Hamm talking about a Mercedes. The Tier 2 stuff is regional stuff. And that's your Southwest Honda dealers, which covers New Mexico, parts of Texas, and then maybe Colorado. Mm-hmm. And then Tier 3, that's what we're talking about, local dealerships. That first spot that I played for you is for a New York Metro dealership. So that's what we're talking about, Tier 3 automotive. And then there's video now. I've gotten the big agency that I do the majority of my stuff for. Actually, I only work for them now. Did a deal with them recently.
Yeah.
Yeah. So now I said, hey, this stuff is just all over the place. It's the Wild West of video. And then how many eyes are on each of these? We don't know, really. Like, we have some ballparks, but it's like the viewership has changed so much. So many people are watching these streaming, the YouTube, the TikTok, and all this kind of stuff.
Remember the TikTok spot we did where we were younger?
Yeah. Bobbi and I, we were doing voiceover, and on camera was this like young Latin couple. I'm like, okay, that plays. but it was for TikTok.
I thought we did pretty well,
Yeah.
considering we were
yeah.
half our ages. Yeah.
Oh, for sure. And that's one of the cool things. But getting back to that kind of streaming stuff and all, compared to TV, it is all still localized. They do that geo fence mapping, the geo mapping, whatever that stuff is that the scientists came up with. They make sure it's local. So if you're watching, like it happened to me, I was working in Phoenix recently, and I started seeing a bunch of ads on Instagram for Phoenix area places. And I'm like, oh, that's because I'm in the area. So they can localize that stuff. So all these ads for video are done for all these different platforms. And I started seeing the trends, the shifts with voiceover overall going to that kind of business model, where video is video, audio is audio kind of a deal. And so I got this automotive agency to go that route. And so all the rates are the same for all the video stuff. And the usage, most times, like 95 to 98 times out of 100, it's going to be used for like 2 weeks. And that's it. And then it's done. And that's why the automotive rates are where they are. And you can even check on the GVAA rate guide that they have some automotive rates up there now. And they are commensurate with what we've been talking about for a long time.
Oh, yeah. They've pretty much stayed the same, at least me working with you, for a while now for that reason, too, don't you think? I mean, it's just they may use it for a week or two. So I don't know that they've really increased all that much. But once again, you're talking bulk and you're talking about very short usage.
Yeah, and that's the thing. And we actually, I think it was the last time we did an automotive podcast, I did the math. And when you do the math compared to the usage, automotive rates pay more than if you do a 13-week cycle on something and then do a normal average rate that you might get for a non-union gig. So if you break it down that way, automotive rates kind of pay a little bit more.
You touched very quickly on the tiers. Obviously, Tier 1 is a national spot, Tier 2, regional, Tier 3, like you said, the local spots. And the thing, I mean, it's been on my bucket list forever to have a national car spot. But once I got with an agent who gives me those opportunities, I found out almost every single time you cannot have anything that's going to compete with it. So if it were a national Toyota spot, any of those tiers, you could not have another Toyota spot. And I'm going like, I don't, even if I was going to be paid $20,000 for this 15, 30-second national Toyota spot, I don't want to give up all my other Toyota work. Yeah. So I've kind of taken that off my bucket list.
This is the Making Waves VO podcast with Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell. I, on the other hand, am Eric Romanowski of Ear Blowing Audio, and I don't know the first thing about podcasts other than that you should keep listening to this one.
I'm going to put you on the spot here. I'm going to put you on the spot. How much, do you know about how many spots you do a month?
Oh, wow. Automotive or spots in general?
No, automotive.
Oh, gosh. In a month, I'd say between 20 and 25, maybe.
Nice.
Yeah.
And so I'm going to let somebody look up the GVA rate guide for automotive and then do the math. So that's just a quick example of the kind of cash you can make doing automotive. Bobbi, I've told you my dirty little automotive story, right? About when I first got into VO full-time.
Well, share it again.
So I left radio and, here I am, I was, decently popular radio guy down in Miami. And then I leave, leaving radio, it's a weird transition because you're the popular person. People like you. People want something. They, you go to shows and people recognize you. You concerts, people recognize you and all these kinds of things. And all of a sudden you leave that for the anonymous world of voiceover. And I say anonymous because, we're recluses now. We we're still performing, but we kind of go to that place where we're like, oh, I'm not being called all the time. And hey, loved your show today and all this stuff. Because clients, they don't care. They're not going to, they might say great job on that spot now and then or whatever, but they just want a good spot, do your thing, and then they pay you. That's your reward. So it's kind of a transition. But so I left. And then I'm like, I used automotive to transition from radio. And I'm like, I'm going to be doing trailers. I'm going to be doing promos. I'm going to be on top of the world in a month, but I'm going to do automotive. Well, automotive consumed me. And at the time, I didn't realize, Bobbi, that a lot of people wanted to do automotive. And because I was like, it was my dirty little secret, right? Yeah, I do a lot of automotive. Isn't that kind of like porn?
Yeah.
That's kind of what I thought. Like, but now that it's totally changed. And, that's not a knock on the automotive genre at all, because I'm so grateful and have accomplished so many things because of it. But that was just my mindset at the time, because I was focused on, I'm going to do trailers one day, and I'm going to do national promos and national spots, and this automotive is just going to be a stepping stone. Kind of like a porn actor thinks that they're going to go from porn to mainstream.
Well, I think it gets that stereotype because it sounds a lot like an announcer or a DJ, whatever you want to call yourself. And that is frowned upon by a lot of VO talent who do the real serious stuff, or the character. And I think automotive automatically goes in right at the top of the list on your typical announcer. And it's, it's not just the pay. It's, you're doing automotive. But you're right. It is changing because it's sustained our income. And that's all people, most people want, is just to have steady work.
And this is among the most steady of genres you can get into. And we've talked about this. I've seen so many people grow in this genre of automotive, yourself included. We started with one dealership, right? Mm-hmm. And however many, 8 years ago, whatever that was. And now I know you're not doing 20 to 25 or 30 spots with me. You're probably doing, 2/3 of that maybe with me.
Yeah, definitely. You are by
and,
far and away my biggest client.
But just to see that grow over these years is amazing. And I've seen it grow for other talent too. So this is, we are in an enviable position for a lot of folks. And you and I, if I can just be honest, you and I were talking about that a while back, and you were kind of frustrated. You're like, I'm not seeing some success in some other things that I'm really trying for, and you're still trying for, because we know you're never going to give up. And you're kind of like, I don't want to say you were down on yourself, but you were just having a moment, right?
Oh, yeah.
And I reminded
definitely.
you, Bobbi, so many people are envious of where you are in your career right now because of the consistent automotive work that you get. And you've got a baseline income coming in that helps keep your bills paid.
Yep. And that's what keeps your spirits up. That's what, makes you want to continue and get better and better. Yeah. I was so glad you had that talk, because I didn't, I was not outside looking in, and it really helped me. And now, well, let's just talk about the resurgence of automotive right now. I mean, first you had COVID, where all the advertising was down. Then you had the chip issue, which you want to explain the chip issue in case people didn't know what it was.
Yeah, I appreciate you let me do the heavy lifting on the technical stuff. But so in every automobile that we drive nowadays, there's all these kinds of chips, these computer chips that anyway. So when COVID happened, it shut down factories in China, which is where a lot of these chips are manufactured. So automotive plants here in the United States couldn't get these chips because of the COVID shutdowns in work. And so they had no inventory. So why are car dealers going to advertise if they have no inventory?
Right.
Thankfully, a lot of them went to start pushing their service. Come in, we're going to make sure your vehicle is clean. It's running in tip-top shape. All our service technicians will be wearing masks, and they'll be protected, and they'll disinfect. And so that's the kind of messaging that came around during COVID.
Yeah.
And then the prices went up for automotive because there was limited inventory and lots of demand.
Yep. And then they didn't have to advertise because everybody wanted that, Ford F-150. And why advertise when you've got 10 people waiting in line to get that particular car, which is a few on their lot? So, so we're talking 4 years or so of really kind of dropping. But then, and you told me, because the agency told you, expect it at this point in time. It's coming back. And they were spot on.
They were.
Yeah.
Thankfully. They're like, Kev, it's going to get better. And it did. And it's, my big automotive client, they are so sharp. They know what the heck they're doing. They stay on top of trends. They're huge. I don't know if there's a bigger automotive agency in the States than they are. I don't know how it's possible. I mean, it could be. I'm not quite sure. But I'm very grateful for them. I know that. Hang around. We'll be back shortly.
Hello, everybody. This is Dave Walsh of The Trutel, and you're listening to the Making Waves VO podcast with my friends Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell.
As a voice actor, you want to focus on what's important, right? Like pulling off the perfect read. You don't want to stress about tech stuff. That's why Full Compass is in your corner. With 50 years experience in pro audio, Full Compass has everything we voice actors need. Mics, headphones, monitors, mixers, interfaces, DAWs, all the goodies. And their certified product experts help with everything they sell. Plus, you can get free same-day shipping, flexible financing, and a low price guarantee. See it all at fullcompass.com. Fullcompass.com. They know VO.
Now back to the podcast.
I want to go back to styles for a second, because we were talking about luxury and you heard me do an angry father. I wanted to play a little something here that is totally, it just gives you the variety of what goes on in automotive VO. Let me play this because this is a national spot with a local tag. So this is going to run in one single market. But listen to, it's a TV spot, but I'm going to play the audio for you.
Okay.
Hey. Well, Mazda.
The three-row Mazda CX-90. It's made to move you.
New Mazda CX-90 for $399 a month at Keffer Mazda. Totally different from my angry father, huh?
Totally different. That's an interesting spot. I'd love to see the video part of it.
Yeah, it's a mom with her teenage son in the back, and the son is questioning the Mazda purchase, and then a car kind of cuts them off, and then the mom is able to adjust because of the Mazda safety sense kind of thing, and then the son's like, "Oh yeah, cool, mom, good call on the Mazda."
Yeah.
So, and then, my job there was to kind of match the tone of the national VO on that, just caring and warm, kind of a vibe.
Let's talk about, obviously, people who are listening, how do you get the automotive work, and do you need an automotive demo? Obviously, I was hired on pay-to-play by you. We've covered that. And anybody who self-markets, there's contacting the agencies directly or the production houses directly. Kevin, I've reached out to just dealerships in small markets. I've never gotten a bite. It's always they either use the owner or they use an agency almost every single time.
I would, not in every case, but I would say that if you're reaching out to dealerships themselves, you're wasting your time.
Yes.
Research automotive specific ad agencies because there's a bunch of them out there, and that's where you're gonna get the majority of the work. You might get some from normal ad agencies that produce commercials, but they happen to pick up an automotive client. But because there are people like you and I that do a lot of automotive work, well, there's agencies that mostly and only do automotive work because it is recurrent. It comes around monthly. And I want to mention really quick, why does it come around monthly? It's because car dealers change their incentives. Car manufacturers change their incentives every single month. Toyota may have $3,000 off a Camry. It might be Ford Truck Month, and Ford is doing special financing rates. Chevy might be doing something on the Impala. I don't know if they make Impalas anymore, but they might be doing it, on their Chevy 2500 truck, whatever it may be. They do incentives every single month to re-energize the car buying market for consumers to say, oh, I've been waiting for a good deal on a Camry. And Bobbi told me it's only $199 a month at Bobbi Maxwell Toyota, so that's where I'm going to go. But they change them every single month, and that's why VO and Automotive is so good, because new spots come around every single month.
Yeah. And do you have to have an automotive demo?
Yeah.
Asking of the man who produces automotive demos.
Why, of course you do. No, I mean, you kind of need one, but if you've got good examples of work you've done, you could present that, I suppose, but you have to have something that represents how you sound doing a few different styles of automotive. We talked about there's luxury, there's the angry father, so that's specific to me and maybe a handful of other guys, but it's like a high energy or a hard sell kind of vibe, which, by the way, the percentage of hard sell, high energy stuff that I do has gone way down since COVID. And I'm so happy because it saves my voice, first of all. And the other thing, it lets me be more Kev. Hey, get a new Camry right now for $199 a month at Bobbi Maxwell Toyota. You're going to love it. You're going to drive for 600,000 miles, and you're only going to pay $199 a month. So it lets me be a little bit closer to myself. But so there's the high energy, there's the luxury, and that example I played a little while ago of Bobbi doing luxury is like perfect. It's still got some brightness, it's still got some energy, but it's got a level of class to it. There's service automotive VO. Service stuff is just nice, friendly, laid back. Hey, come in and get an oil change this month only for $29.99 at Bobbi Maxwell Toyota. And so there's a handful of different types, and you need to be able to convey those to the automotive agency that you're presenting to. Now, if that's in the form of a demo, so be it. But if you've got a few examples that represent that, go that route.
Did you happen to see the conversation on one of the voiceover Facebook pages about announcer spots are coming back?
I did not see that.
You really know. I can't remember which one it was. Voiceover community or something like that. Someone put it out there, said, is it me, or are you seeing more need for your typical announcer? And almost everybody chimed in and said, yes, it's totally different. It's not that they're getting rid of the flat read or the conversational read. It's just like you talked about before. Things are cyclical, but also we're in better times than we were 2 or 4 years ago, for the most part. So it's back to happy and bright, but you're still going to have trusting in there and believable. But yeah, you need to go to that thread, because I couldn't believe how many people agreed with it. And I'm going, yes.
I love that. But it's still got to, I would suspect that it's still got to be the modern day announcer sound.
Right. And you brought that up. Remember like a year ago, 6 months ago, I said, Kevin, I just feel like everything's an announcer in automotive that you do. And you pointed out to me, you said, but Bobbi, you have a way of being an announcer and speaking with me, not yelling at me. And I still don't hear it, but obviously it's there because they're still hiring me. But there's your typical, Sunday announcer, and your announcer who's just being bright and relatable. And I would talk to you like this if there was a certain conversation. Hear how my voice is going up like that. So yeah,
very
exactly
cool. Bear with me 1 minute. Bobbi, every now and then, sometimes doing those spots are fun for me. The Sunday spots you were just talking about.
Yeah.
Can I play a little bit of one for you?
Of course.
It's been 22 years in the making, and everyone's a winner during the anniversary sale at the Ford House. Spin the wheel and win up to $1,000 cash, laptops, big screen TVs, wireless earbuds, and more. Plus,
Oh my gosh. Obviously, tier 3.
Oh, yeah. But that is, one of those ones where it's like, Kev, it's the end of the world. Everybody needs to buy a car to save themselves. And that's where I find my truth.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, if somebody wants to reach out to you and have an automotive demo done or a workshop that not just the one coming up or in the future, how can they reach you, Kevin?
Oh, you're so sweet, Bobby. You could shoot me an email, kkvoguy@gmail.com. And if you're interested in doing the workout, the automotive workout on April the 30th, it's $99 and it's 2 hours. And we've got a few spots left as of this recording. But go to voiceover.guru and then click the online voiceover workouts, and you'll see it on the page there. But thanks for that, Bobby, and thanks for all you do in the automotive space.
Thank you. I love it. Are you kidding?
Yeah,
That's why I get up in the morning.
What should we leave them with, Bobby, about automotive? Can you crystallize the automotive voiceover genre in a couple of sentences?
Sure. There's a lot of work out there, and that's what's very, very important. And it's a lot of different types of work, different tones, different styles, different characters. Just know that you have to be available. Know that you have to be believable. And you can supplement a lot of your income just by doing automotive if you want to do other types of VO. It's a great genre. There's a lot of people trying to do it. Not everybody can do it, but there's a lot of work out there.
Yeah, it's a tough nut to crack, but once you get in with an agency, if they hire you for one spot, just do your best job on it and be available for them. And Bobby's talking about the availability. Real quick, I'd like to add that it's mostly the first 2 weeks of every month.
Right. Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, because that's when incentives come down, or around the first of the month, and then these agencies are hustling to get these spots produced and get them on the air. It's typically, Bobby, if I go dark, I typically go dark for like 1 week a year, maybe 2 if I'm lucky. And when I say go dark, I don't do any work. I will have to pick a third week of the month to do that. That's just how it goes. But the rewards can be great. Well, Bobby, if anybody would like to hire you for automotive voiceover because you are a star in this genre, how could they reach you?
It's easy. It's Bobbi with an I. Bobbi at BobbiMaxwell.com.
Very, very nice. Well, this was fun. We should do this again next week.
This was an easy one for us. You gotta admit it, but that's
very
okay.
nice. Well, Bobby, thanks for being part of this automotive discussion. And the Making Waves VO podcast is presented by Full Compass, fullcompass.com.
We know VO. Hey, we should do a new one. We know AUTO. MOTIVE.
Ooh, I like that. Not bad, not bad.
Thanks, Kevin.
The Making Waves VO podcast is produced by K2 Media Productions with hosts Kevin Kilpatrick and Bobbi Maxwell. Sound design and editing by Jason Traver. Production assistance by Lacey Deline. Publicity and social media by Shannon Scott and Silas Phillips. Be sure to subscribe to the Making Waves VO podcast on your favorite platform. For all episodes, merchandise, gear, and more, visit makingwavesvo.com. Until next time, I'm AJ McKay. Keep making waves.